Hello, this is Dave Sugarbaker, and this is the 25th day of June 2023. And I have a sermon about anger, and it starts off with these two readings from the Old and New Testament. First, from Ecclesiastes, and that's part of wisdom literature in the Old Testament. Wisdom literature often, the whole book of Proverbs is two-liners. And this is from Ecclesiastes, but it's still a two-liner, and it goes like this. It's from Ecclesiastes 7. Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. And secondly, I have a reading from the New Testament from Ephesians, the letter to the church at Ephesus. And this says this: Be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. I saw a brief clip on the internet of a new congressman reflecting on his colleagues and on what he's learned. He said in committee sessions, some of his colleagues make outrageous statements and attack witnesses. This new congressman observed that this kind of thing only happens when cameras are present. Remove the cameras, and these same outrageous congresspeople behave like normal human beings. The new congressman said, "These people understand that if they can keep you angry, they can hold your attention." I'm going to read that again. This was a statement that struck me. These people understand that if they can keep you angry, they can hold your attention. And this really rang a bell with me. Is this really true? If someone can push your anger button, can they then capture your attention? Have these Congress people learned something that every obstreperous 2-year-old knows instinctively? That is, if they feel ignored, they can intentionally act up. And if their significant adult reacts in anger at their misbehavior, then they have won. The 2-year-olds know that negative attention is better than no attention at all. So is this what's going on? These misbehaving politicians, though, take it one step further, and the politician focuses on the demonized opposition and tickles the fear and the anger of their constituents. The camera picks up on the brave politician confronting the enemy on their behalf, exhibiting the anger that the constituents would show to their political opponents. I think this is what the freshman congressman was really getting at, that these people understand, these Congress people understand, that if they can keep their constituents angry, they can hold their attention. In the last decade or so, anger has played an increasing role in politics, and I think it's dangerous. Anger certainly focuses our attention. Fear is often the spark that ignites our anger. But it's a mistake to blame anyone else for our anger. They didn't make me mad. I have a choice. And I know, at least I know for me, that if I don't want to play the game, it doesn't work. No matter what that provoking other person does, if I don't want to get angry, I'm in charge of that, and I'm not going to get angry. Anger is not an easy emotion, but it's universal, it's human, it's part of who we are. But it's not an emotion that we're comfortable with. Ambrose Bierce said, "Speak when you are angry, and you will make the best speech you will ever regret." Benjamin Franklin said this. He was much more straightforward. He said, "Whatever is begun in anger ends in shame." Aristotle doesn't tell us never to be angry, but he says we have to be angry with the right person, at the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way. So if you've checked all those boxes and your anger is appropriate in all of those ways, then Aristotle would say, go ahead, get angry. But by the time you go through all of that analysis of your anger, the steam may be gone. In real life, when we act out of anger, our motive is usually to protect ourselves and get the one who threatens us to back off. We expect ourselves and we expect others to manage and moderate our feelings, including anger. And when we meet or see someone who's out of control angry, we assume that that's behavior that's really out of bounds. But anger is hardwired in all of us. We're all angry at times when we perceive a threat. And it goes all the way back to Cain and Abel. Often anger is ignited by fear. So it may help to understand more about what makes us afraid. And one of the big things is difference. Difference isn't automatically a problem, it's just a fact. We human beings are similar in so many, many ways, and yet we're remarkably different from one another. But when we confront someone who doesn't share our values or ideals, the temptation is to feel that our own choices are being called into question. If we encounter difference and feel that this other person who sees and thinks and feels differently than we do is looking at us as stupid, crazy, or wrong for the choices that we've made, them's fighting words. Our current political climate encourages us to attack those who don't agree with us. We're not encouraged to debate our philosophic differences. We're encouraged to call them names and to impugn their capabilities and their intelligence. This, I think, is dangerous stuff. It's too easily led on to violence, to real violence. For exactly this reason, Plato says, and you get the idea that I'm looking up what everybody had to say about anger? You're right. Plato says there are two things a person should never be angry about: what they can help and what they can't help. Both the Old and the New Testaments are full of cautions about anger and its consequences. Jesus says this in the Sermon on the Mount: "You have heard that it was said to those of ancient times, 'You shall not murder,' and 'Whoever murders shall be liable to judgment.' But I say to you that if you are angry with your brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. And if you insult your brother or sister, you will be liable to the council. And if you say, 'You fool,' you will be liable to the hell of fire." So when you are offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled with your brother or sister, then come and offer your gift. The biblical writers don't say that anger is in itself a sin. They'd probably say it's part of the human condition. It's what we do in anger that is sinful. The New Testament writer in Ephesians says, "Be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold." And Proverbs in the Old Testament, another one of the wisdom books in the Old Testament, says, "He who is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who is quick-tempered exalts folly." Now, God bless you. Stay safe in the midst of all that's going on. If you find value here, I'd appreciate it if you'd pass it along, if you'd share it. So, thank you very much for your time. Take care.